There are 41 stations on the Elizabeth line and I've been to 39 of them. The two which are remaining are Maryland and Forest Gate, which are right next to each other, and if I wanted to I could probably get them both done in about 10 minutes or so. Instead, I'm going to take a walk between the two, and I'm not even going to take the most direct route.
We are now arriving at Maryland.
Maryland, my penultimate Elizabeth line station, has one of the shortest platforms of any station on the network. Only Hanwell, I think, beats it in shortest length. The shortest distance between any two Elizabeth line stations is the one stop I just did from Stratford to Maryland. Because I've never done research into this area before, because, well, I've never been here, I didn't realise that when this station first opened in 1874 it was known as Maryland Point up until 1940. There's this strange spiral clock tower beside the station here in Maryland that was originally situated in Stratford but moved to here when the Westfield shopping centre development began. The bus stop here still has a National Rail symbol and not an Elizabeth line roundel. Now, the last Elizabeth line station to open was Bond Street. Everyone knows Bond Street, right? Well, there is no actual Bond Street though. There's a new Bond Street, but no actual Bond Street in central London. However, here in Maryland, there is. But this isn't exactly where you'd be coming to do your Christmas shopping, is it? This is my first winter walk of the season now that the clocks have gone back and we have less daylight hours. A lot of these walks you'll find are going to be urban London walks. Do I try to include as many green spaces as possible, like here, Chandos Road, open space, as I won't be heading out to the country or the coast anytime soon. This is a surviving relic. How many pink signs for the Olympic Park can you still come across? One such park that we're visiting is Draper's Field, which is here on the border between the boroughs of Newham and Waltham Forest. You can see that we're right on the edge of all the new developments which surround Stratford nowadays. It is also the terminus of the N205 bus route here at Draper's Field at Leighton Downsell Road, which I was going to say is the only night route to have a unique terminus, but actually the N8 does as well in Hainault, though it didn't always used to. There was a daytime route which terminated there. Much like here, this used to be the terminus of the 97, but when Westfield and all the development around there at Stratford City opened, it was extended through. There's a George VI postbox here, which has a slot where you can buy a book of stamps, or used to back in the day. Can't do that anymore from a postbox. Nor is it as cheap as 50p anymore. I've walked on up to Leighton Station on the Central Line, though it was originally part of the Great Eastern Railway. It's looking a little bit worse for wear right now, I'm going to be honest. Wow, you get a good view from on top of the bridge here at Leighton Station of London in the distance. You can see the velodrome there as well in the Olympic Park. It is due to get a new station building with step-free access, much like what's happening at Colindale at the moment, so hopefully it will look nice soon. I think one of the lifts will be here, where this set of stairs are, which I think is an emergency exit from the platform, or extra capacity. It also used to be a northern exit to Leighton Station, but when they built the A12 road here, that entrance was demolished. One thing I've always been intrigued about when travelling along the Central Line here in Leighton is this huge compact cemetery that you can see out of the window. This is St Patrick's Cemetery. Probably a good example of how at one point we were running out of space in cemeteries like this, because it's quite surprising to see so many graves pushed up against each other here. I like walking through cemeteries because I find them quite peaceful and calming to walk through, even if I can still hear the noise of the gate 12 right next door. What I find frustrating about some of them though is that some large ones like this only have one entrance. You would think that there would be a way out on the other side. Here I don't think that's the case, even though there's clearly like a second gate leading out onto a road, which is where I want to go. But I have a feeling I might not be able to get out, so I have to go all the way back around and then all the way back around on the road, which, you know, is long. If you just open the gate, it wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, as I thought, the second gate is completely locked. That's over a 10-minute walk just to get onto that road if I was to go all the way back out and around. I definitely walked all the way around 100% and didn't just hop the fence. I'm now heading into Cathall Green. That's a curious disused building here, right beside Leytonstone's leisure centre. Noticed that a lot of street names around here are named after fruit for some reason. I saw a pear road and an apple road, and I'm now on a junction of Orange Grove and Melon Road. There's a war memorial here at Harrow Green, which seems quite fitting because Remembrance Day is coming up soon. There's another sign as well, which still has the old National Rail symbol for Leytonstone High Road there. Got Peppermint Place here. Looks like there might be some sort of old warehouse or factory over there. Cornway and Holloway Road, not the Holloway Road in North London. And that brings me into Langthorne Park, which has one of them London 2012 outdoor gyms, the logo on the floor, which is quite fitting because we are near to the Olympic Park here. The Langthorne in Langthorne Park is referring to Stratford Langthorne Abbey, which used to own a lot of land around here. You can still see a small remnant of the Abbey if you go to Abbey Road DLR station. Just outside of it, you can see a little bit of the grounds of where the Abbey was. Seems there's a little wetlands tucked away here in Langthorne Park as well. So you can find history wherever you go in London. I've just come out of Langthorne Park, and opposite there's this rather unassuming little green space, which I felt was a little bit strange, but I've just learnt that there used to be a row of shops here, but they got bombed during the Blitz. So this is the site of a bomb that went off during World War II. After a bit of suburban street walking, I've now made it into West Ham Cemetery, which is another that only has one entrance and exit, so I'm doing a bit of a loop around it. I'll leave via the same way. This is Forest Lane Park, which also seems like it has a bit of a wetlands area. This is quite nice to walk through. Now, the site of Forest Lane Park used to be a Forest Gate Hospital, which closed in 1985 as Newham General Hospital opened up and essentially became a replacement. I think before that it was a school. Tragically, there was a fire which cost 26 children their lives. But dotted around the park you can still see a couple of buildings that look like they belong to the old hospital. Including this magnificent structure here. This definitely has the look of an old hospital, doesn't it? This is Gladys Dimson House. I can hear the trains running behind me. I'm going to start humming the theme tune now as I walk down Waterloo Road. After a little more suburban street walking, I've been admiring everyone's Halloween decorations. Now just come to the tiny Canhall Park beside Canhall Road. This railway bridge just says Forest. I thought maybe on one side it would say Forest, on the other side it would say Gate, because Forest Gate is the other Elizabeth Line station we're going to. But it doesn't, it's just Forest. And it also isn't the railway line, that is the Elizabeth Line. That's a nice looking pub building. The Rookwood Village. Stencils on the window call it an urban village pub. Now made it onto Wanstead Flats. No, it's not covered in blocks of flats. It is just a very flat green park here in London. However, there is 2 flats here on the edge of Wanstead Flats. And I would say that they're kind of iconic just because they loom over this completely flat park here. But at the same time, I think they're very ugly. I mean, right now they're covered in scaffolding, which is kind of, I guess, disguising the ugliness of it. But when I've come here before, I remember seeing several windows were either shattered or boarded up. So yeah, not the greatest block of flats in the world. Keeping up with the wetlands feel, there is a lake here on Wanstead Flats as well. The largest and nicest of the day, I would say. Quite gloomy on a grey day though, but it adds to the atmosphere. I've just come off of Wanstead Flats because opposite you have the Holly Tree pub, which curiously has a miniature railway in their beer garden. I've never come across a pub which has a miniature railway before. This is why Wanstead Flats is brilliant to walk across. It's just so open and flat, obviously. It's just great. It kind of reminds me of Hackney Marshes in a way. Yet quite a few large open spaces dotted around northeast London. Saying that, where we're ending the walk at Forest Gate, its name literally means gateway to the forest, Epping Forest to be precise. Now I think a lot of people assume that Epping Forest starts up around Chingford, but there's a chain of parks and woods that head south of there to here at Wanstead Flats. So technically, this is part of Epping Forest. It's the beginning of it. That would be a good London walk to do, starting here at Wanstead Flats, heading up to Chingford and then across Epping Forest to Epping. Might be a bit of a long walk, but you get to see new parts of London if you're not familiar with them, and you get to discover just how green of a city London can be. I kind of want to do that walk myself now that I've put the idea in my mind, even though a lot of places along it I've been to before, and parts of it I've also got planned for future walks. Maybe one day. I just think it would be a good walk to do all of Epping Forest in one go. You know what? This would be a strange little video series. Finding all of the gate numbers in Epping Forest. That would take probably many walks. 189. How many are there in total? This must be one of the highest ones, no? Today's walk is a bit shorter than usual, as it was designed just to link between the last 2 Elizabeth line stations without going too far afield. So I've actually still got a bit of time left before it starts getting dark. So I think I'm going to take the opportunity to hang out here at Wanstead Flats for a little bit. I've got a book in my bag as well. I might actually read for a bit. That will be nice. Now the first station upon leaving Wanstead Flats is not actually Forest Gate, but it is instead Wanstead Park on the London Overground. These stations are very close to each other but opened at different times. Forest Gate opened in 1840, closed 3 years later for 3 years, and this one here opened in 1894. It's the terminus of the 3:30 bus route, and I did use Wanstead Park when I did that route. I guess that explains why I've never used Forest Gate. Why I've never used Maryland is just because it's a suburb of Stratford, and if I was ever there, I would just use Stratford. There it is, my last Elizabeth line station, Forest Gate. It's a strange rotunda-shaped building outside, and a clock tower. That's not as notable as Maryland's. I visited every Elizabeth line station. Wait, I visited every TfL station, because I've done the Underground, Overground, DLR and trams too. And cable car, don't forget cable car. Wow, That feels like it brings to an end a 9-year trip from first travelling on TfL rail from Stratford to Romford after I spotted it on the tube map for the first time, to then using a lot of the other stations for bus routes like Manor Park, Ilford, Harold Wood, doing a lot of walks out west in Berkshire using stations like Maidenhead and Twyford. I remember my first Great Western Railway journey was just the one stop from West Drayton to Hayes and Harlington, and it was on a 3-coach diesel train that ran every half an hour or so, and now there's massive 9-car Elizabeth line trains that run down there like 4 times an hour. And it's come to an end here at Forest Gate. Love that.
We are now arriving at Maryland.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-na, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.